Hey now, hey now, hey now.
Hello.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, it's me.
Hey, it's Ron Hart. How are you, man?
I'm all right, man. How are you?
Good, man. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. I know it's an unconventional time, at least for me, at least.
Not for me. This is perfect.
Yeah, 7. Yeah, no, it's usually good. I've found that a lot of musicians prefer. Sometimes a lot of them prefer to talk in the evening, which works for me.
Well, yeah, because we're just getting started.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm a parent, so like once my son's in bed and stuff, then I can I'm actually in the car because I want to stay, I want to be able to talk.
Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I live in Ringwood, New Jersey, in North Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm originally from New York. I'm originally from the New Paltz area.
Escape from New York.
Yeah, it was not too far from New York though.
Were you in the city?
No, man, no. I lived on Long Island for a long time. And
I got family on Long Island.
yeah, I'm originally from the East Meadow area.
Okay.
So, which is pretty awesome. I mean, I'm gonna be 48 next week, and I gotta say, it was really cool growing up in that area until I moved upstate. Like,
Yeah.
like when you have like these, I feel like you start really, I have an 8-year-old at home, so I kind of see he's starting to remember things when he was like 4 or 5, and I feel like my memories kind of start there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So to have like these memories of like 77 to 81 living out there is really cool, and I've been pulling from it for like writing and shit. It's so much fun, man.
New York was still like New York City.
Yeah, it was. And the weird thing about that East Meadow Levittown area, I feel like it was a test market area.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I felt like we had
people would do their warm up.
No, it was what? Yeah, I'm sure there was some shit like that, but I'm thinking more like different stores that no one else had, or like different like toys. I had like 6 toy stores by me. It was insane. And
the kid who dies with the most toys.
Yeah, right. But now kids don't even play with the toys anymore, man. Kids drop their toys by like 3rd grade. I was playing with
they're just fucking with a screen.
I know, right? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Have you ever read Neil Postman, Amusing Ourselves to Death?
I have not.
You never read that? It was about screen addiction. It came out in the late 80s, I think he did. Then Roger Waters actually wrote Amused to Death based on that book.
Oh, okay.
And it's about screen addiction, but it was only for like television.
Oh yeah, which is nothing. That shit's gateway.
I know. Now, 35 years later, it's like, wow. I mean, talk about prophecy, man.
Man, it's fucking crazy. I mean, I see it. My sister has a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
So I seen it. It's you know what? I'm just grateful that I like missed it. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, but
there was no screen. I mean, there was TV, but like, how much TV could you watch before your mom is like, all right, get the fuck outside?
Yeah, right. I mean, we would, and even like, when I was in like my late teens, early 20s, I was out all the time with my friends. We were out all the time, and the only show we would watch before we would go out to the bar was like Seinfeld at 11 o'clock. That was like our appointment television, like the when Channel 11 would rerun Seinfeld.
Right.
And that was like what we would watch, and then we would go out. But I can't think of any appointment television I ever had in the 90s, really, besides like the late 90s when like The Sopranos and Mr. Show and all that stuff started.
You didn't watch Martin?
I never watched Martin, man. I never watched any of the Channel 9 shows, like all those like, you know, all the, you know, the black comedies from like that 90s period though, like Sister Sister, Martin.
Martin's pretty fucking good, I gotta say.
It is, right? And it's like,
yeah,
I bet you it is. I gotta watch it again, man. I gotta, you know, that's the beauty. You can pull up all this stuff.
Martin gets no love too. It's crazy. Like, people treat him like he's some kind of bullshit, but he's funny as fuck, dude. Like,
he's very funny. Martin Lawrence was a funny dude, man, and he is a funny guy. I mean, I hope he what was that?
He doesn't really get his due, you know. People kind of just like, you know, treat him like he only did Big Mama or some shit.
Yeah, I wonder if like Flip Wilson was treated like that or someone like that back in the day.
Probably, yeah.
You know, like he had so much more to offer, but all they saw was Geraldine. You know what I mean? And
exactly. Like, they catch you running in a leather suit, high on crack once, and it's done.
Yeah, it's crazy. But Martin was I gotta watch Martin, man. You know, like I said, like some of that stuff I just never really, you know, I was watching more. I don't even know, like, in high school. The Week in Rock was my big show. I used to love watching MTV's The Week in Rock.
Yeah, that was a good one. That's when they still, like, talked about music on that channel.
Yes, that was what was cool about it. You know, there was still, you know, interesting, you know, like, you know, Kurt Loder, you know, he was good at what he did, and they were informative, and I liked some of the, you know, I got, like, you know, it was informative news, man. It really was.
It was like real news, but for music. Kind of hilarious.
Oh, it was great, and it was great. And then I just remember when they tried to revamp MTV a few years ago, and they could never do that again. Like, the MTV is such a wasteland. It's like,
yeah, I don't even know what it is. I didn't even know it's still a channel.
It's gonna be. It just turned 40. Or it's turning 40 in August, I think, August 81 or whatever. It's 40 years old, and you'd think that they would have like a channel, even like a data dump channel, to put all the old stuff on, old blocks of like Mark Goodman or something, or like old blocks of like videos with the hosts or the old shows that they used to do. They used to have such cool shows. I mean,
bring back Pinfield and Ricky Rackman.
Yeah, Ricky Rackman, 120 minutes. Remember?
120 minutes was dope.
Wasn't that awesome? Remember when like Thurston Moore and Beck did the show together?
Yeah, 120 minutes, Yo MTV Raps, all that shit.
It was so cool.
Shows were fucking sick.
It was so loose, you know.
Yeah.
I'm actually doing I'm doing a story for Billboard on Nevermind, Nirvana's Nevermind, for its 30th anniversary, and I was talking to someone about it, and they were like, you know, Kurt Cobain was such a funny dude. He was hilarious, man. He had a real funny sense of humor, and you could always see that when he was on MTV and in interviews, and you could see he was kind of
the headbanger's ball.
He used to love like taking the piss out of the place, kind of, you know.
Shit was funny. Yeah, I do.
And you guys, and it's funny because you guys started, you know, the Icarus Line had started in like the late 90s, right? So that was like
98. We were like teenagers still.
It's such a crazy time, you know. Because I got my first job at CMJ right out of college. I graduated New Paltz. Like 2 weeks later, they had me at CMJ, working as an editorial assistant for the New Music Report. And
sick.
It was great, but it was such a weird time to work in the music industry from like that period, like 98, 99, because it was so in flux.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was kind of like the last gasp of like underground bands getting money from majors.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
It was like we were like the death knell of that. Like, you know what I mean? We just squeaked in.
Yeah,
right.
Like,
yeah, these guys don't have anything close to a hit, but fuck it, let's sign them. They're wild, you know.
No, definitely, man. Because right before that, you had the Melvins putting out records on Atlantic and.
That's what I'm saying.
Daniel Johnston.
There was a good clip there for like 20 years or something where they're like, you know, people got to do fun shit.
Well, it's because they would have like, you would think, you had like, Columbia or whatever, you'd have like Mariah Carey was raking in the money, so Mike Watt could put out weird solo records and Firehose could put out records.
Exactly. Like I say here and there, like it was an actual model of trickle-down economics that worked. You know what I mean? Usually that shit doesn't work, but in the music industry, it actually kind of worked.
Yeah, totally. It really did in a way, right? And
It did. It fucking did, man.
you know, because I've interviewed some, or even starting to appreciate the stuff on major labels more, like the deeper catalog. You know, like when you just sort of you go deeper in these Warner Brothers catalog and you find like the weird stuff and the real.
Warner Brothers did some shit. I mean, they even like have Sire and stuff like that.
Yeah, Sire. Oh, forget about it, man. You know, because I just started actually. I started getting into some of the bands from like the late '70s, early '80s. You know, like the Records and the Only Ones and Billy Thermal.
Oh yeah, Only Ones are great.
The Cretones. There were so many good bands, man. They had such a cool sound. You know,
totally.
Like the Greg Kinn band and you know, it was just, you know, it's just so wild, that sound, and I'm like going deep into it, and you know, it's so cool to just explore all that stuff. Or
yeah, I mean, that was New York's kind of like heyday, really. You know, like as far as rock and roll, it's like like 75 to like 85 or something.
Yeah, oh, definitely, man, definitely,
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, are you a fan? Do you like that album, Johnny Thunder's Soul Alone?
I mean, I like all Johnny Thunder's records, really. Like
that.
Honestly, I've never done covers in my life, but I've done a lot of Johnny Thunder songs just because I can sing them for some reason. Like,
yeah.
The Icarus Line had hold on one second, I gotta shut these dogs up.
Those are the co-stars in the film, right?
Yeah, those are my buddies. We had a show in Paris once.
Yeah.
And I flew ahead of the band. The drive was like hellacious, and just for everyone to be able to lay down in the van was like, it was like a 26-hour drive from Spain or some shit.
Oh, wow.
So me and Alvin flew ahead, but the band never made it because the driver was like a cokehead and they like ended up breaking down or whatever. So I ended up playing the Paris show by myself, and I did all Johnny Thunder songs because I just didn't even know what else to do.
And how was it received?
I don't even remember. I mean, it was packed, but I can't tell if people like it or not.
You know, but I appreciate you guys, you know, for that reason, though. I felt like you guys, you know, it was cool because just like, you know, almost like, I just felt like you guys were like rallying against what was happening in the late 90s, though, you know, like I just watched the Woodstock 99 documentary, you know, and I was there at Woodstock 99. I was actually there all 3 days. I saw everything.
Yeah, what a mess.
It was horrible, dude. It was just... Yeah. But that sound, that music was horrible.
Those bands were like the antithesis of what my band was.
That's what I mean.
But we hated that shit.
Oh, yeah, totally. But it was so funny because it was never like that. Like, me growing up, like, Nirvana meant so much in all those bands. But not even before Nirvana. I'm talking, like, Violent Femmes and Jane's Addiction and Living Colour especially. Like... These were bands that I felt like I could call my own. They were big enough, but, you know, the jocks wouldn't understand them, or they were too afraid of the black men playing rock and roll or whatever. And
totally.
You know, and I felt like it was something of mine. But in the late 90s, it was like grunge was already co-opted by the, you know, you could always tell the posers, especially up in New Paltz, you could always tell, like, the dudes that were wearing, like, the hooded flannels. That was, like, the big red herring.
Yeah, I mean, it was like Tool and Jane's Addiction were awesome, but they like every band that formed because of them was the worst.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. And same with you know, same with all the, you know, same with Pearl Jam, you know, like when you ended up getting like Nickelback and Creed and Candlebox, who was just the worst.
Like a tidal wave of diarrhea, really.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden this like, you know, Limp Bizkit and all this stuff kind of came out of it. Because of Rage Against the Machine, obviously.
Yep.
And that was another thing, because I love Rage Against the Machine. I love Tool. I think Tool
that first record was sick, and there was nothing like it ever before. You know, it's one of those things where it's like no one's ever done this.
No, definitely not. I was actually watching what was the one song that they did from Battle of Los Angeles, where they played on Wall Street. They played right on Wall Street.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so good. You know.
Yeah, they were fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, but you know, people always talk about like the bad, you know, like what happened after Pearl Jam and Nirvana, all these crap bands came out. But But look what happened after, Faith No More, the Beastie Boys, and Rage.
Well, they just always find people who are easier to manipulate and who are more thirsty, and who are easier to control, like a bunch of fucking idiots from Florida that will do whatever the label wants because they just want to be famous or whatever, you know what I mean? And that's just how it goes.
And that was great because, and then and that's why I'm happy to talk to you about the solo album, and that's why I'm because like I said, I've always been a fan of the Icarus Line because I always felt you guys were so true, because even that bled into the whole put on from the whole Brooklyn Williamsburg era, the whole Pitchfork era. Like, I always felt like you guys were the guys that were, like, keeping, things true.
We kind of, like, thought Pitchfork was ripping us off, like, when we were doing Buddy Head.
Yes.
We saw that pop up. We got hurt there for a second when Pitchfork showed up. We were like, who are these fucking dudes trying to, like, bite our shit?
Yes, right? And it was the guys. They were, like, these rich kids from Chicago, right? And they had money. And they became such a powerful thing, though. And that's the thing. Like, I feel like it's been, like, like, that's what, we were talking about, kids might be on their screens, man, but they're awesome, too. Like, I love my son's generation. They're amazing kids. They're into stuff. Even the kids above them, the kids that are in middle school and high school, they're all into it. They're my generation's kids, they're like the Gen X kids.
Yeah. And, it's the generation in between that's fucked in the head, dude.
That's it, because it was all the, because when you think of Gen X as we were all raised by fucking single parents, divorced families, this, that, and the other. And then the dads usually would start some other fucking family and have their own kids. And those kids were the fucking millennials because they were all born in the 80s and shit.
Yep.
And that's the divide between Gen X and the millennials. And now the millennials, these kids, my son's generation, and the kids in high school and stuff now, and even college.
Yeah.
The millennials are like, they're rebelling against all that bullshit, which I find is amazing.
Good. Yeah, good.
Do you know how many kids, like middle school kids I've seen, just going to like the sports stuff? They're wearing mullets, man. Kids rock mullets now. It's amazing. It's awesome though, because it's without context. Like they all love, like the big thing is tie dye too. Like kids love tie dye now, but it's totally the whole context of the '60s and hippies.
It doesn't have anything to do with like
nothing.
Dead, really.
And it's amazing. It's amazing to see that in my lifetime be repurposed by another generation.
Totally. I mean, everything's being repurposed at this point.
It's awesome. I think it's great, and that's that's where I find the hope. And
for sure. I mean, that's why I listen to rap. You know what I mean? Because it's like those kids take like rock and roll attitude, or at least like the same spirit of it, and like.
Oh, yeah.
Throw it out there. Not all of them, but some of them really do, and it's like music that like...
Yeah, dude.
People are just like, this isn't music, and it's like, as soon as you say that, like, I want to hear it.
Oh, yeah, totally. Like, I think, what's his face is, I call Travis, I think Travis Scott is Todd Rundgren. He is Todd Rundgren. He's a genius. Dude, the guy is a genius.
Totally, man. Like Playboy Cardi, that shit's punk as fuck, dude. You know what I mean? It's crazy, man.
What do you think of Kid Cudi?
I think Cudi's all right. You know what I mean? He's more my generation. I feel like like him and Kanye. But I'm a huge Kanye fan, to be honest. Like I like all of it. He's the closest thing we got to like Bowie or Axl Rose or anything at this point.
Oh, totally, man. And he and they really started off the way hip hop kind of took this trajectory into more headier, psychedelic. It's
the only genre that's like a major genre that takes any chances.
Oh yeah, man. No, totally. I go on Bandcamp. I find all these bands. Arm & Hammer. You like Arm & Hammer? You like those? They're so good. Those kids. JPEG Mafia.
Oh yeah.
They're awesome. Oh, yeah. And then who else do I have there? Backwash is cool. She's cool. Born Mother's doing weird shit.
Yep.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
I love it all. But I've always been drawn to that stuff. I've always been drawn to that's why that's why this whole thing has always been weird to me, because I always grew up in multicultural neighborhoods. I've always been drawn to black music and Spanish music and old music. Music,
well, I mean, if you're into rock and roll and you don't like black music, you're fucked.
Well, that was the problem with Pitchfork, right? I mean, that was like...
Exactly. They treat it like some anthropological shit or some shit.
Yeah, and, even at CMJ and stuff, too, like, it was like, it was like a lot of anti-blues, like when you kind of took the blues and soul music out of rock and roll, and you end up with, like, Animal Collective.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I don't want to listen to Animal Collective. I want to listen to More Mother is interesting, because what she's doing is as crazy and experimental as Animal Collective, but it's true, and it's honest.
Yeah.
I've tried with Animal Collective for 20 years now. I just can't. I can't with those dudes. I
mean, it's just the whitest shit ever, and it's like, we already got so it's all good.
Well, that's the thing, and that's where I feel like, I'm grateful for this period, because I feel like this is, like, these kids are all rebelling against it, so I'm hoping for, like, the Linda Lindas was really exciting to see those kids.
Well, there's also just, like, less hope of, like, commercial success, so I think that, like, it's more focused on, like, making things that you want to make, opposed to, like, even 10 years ago, there was still such a, like, desperate careerism just in the air.
Yeah.
And, like, now, it still exists, but it's kind of just so fucking, it's ridiculous, because the way things are, it's like, come on, man. You might as well just do something you want to do, and if people get into it, cool.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. Look how much, look what you put out. You did those 19 little videos, and they're so cool. And
that was a tour de force.
But it sounds so, it looks so sharp, though, and you just got invested in a really nice camera, right? And you were able to shoot it, and it was so sharp.
Yeah, it's me and my crew, and it's like basically three of us.
Yeah.
That just do the film stuff, and we didn't have it. We did it for nothing, man.
That's what I mean.
It's just we needed something to do. Honestly, it was like that started during lockdown.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. If you have a good camera and a steady hand, you can make a good movie. If you don't have a shaky ass hand, you're all right. And that's why I think it's great. And I love the feel of the films too, because I want to think it's like, I immediately want to think, because of just Criterion stuff, like French New Wave or Italian New Wave or something. Yeah. But where were you coming from, or was it more of like a Wim Wenders kind of thing?
I love Wim Wenders.
Yeah, like,
so he's definitely on the docket. It's like French New Wave, definitely even like early David Lynch.
Yeah, totally.
And some Jim Jarmusch in there too, like all of that stuff, really, all of that stuff. And if it wasn't in black and white, probably a lot of the American New Wave, like I don't know, Brian De Palma and all that stuff, man.
Yeah, totally, man. I love Brian De Palma.
He's great, like Jesus. Man, the 70s for American cinema is just like, it's my heart,
Oh yeah, totally, man. And I remember just seeing Dressed to Kill when I saw Dressed to Kill when I was Ben's age. That's
right. It's magic.
I saw the full Angie.
All of that shit. It's magic.
It is magic, and it's so funny because I did see some crazy films when I was little. But I appreciate them. I appreciate, seeing The Shining when I was that young, and just now how it resonates with me beyond the terror of it, but just the filmmaking and
it's incredible.
The nuances.
Like people have all the money in the world and they can't make a film like that these days.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I am so, and especially at this stage, the whole post QAnon, Alex Jones. Right. I'm so over conspiracy ideas, but the whole Stanley Kubrick one I still find interesting.
The moon landing?
Yeah, the moon landing, and that room, what is it, 231? What the hell was the room?
That documentary's cool.
Yeah, that documentary's cool. So that's like kind of like I'll invest my time in that. But after
that's like fun conspiracy shit, though. You know what I mean? That's like just fun.
Yeah, definitely. It's not what's going on now, which is just crazy. And that's what it's great that you brought that stuff up in the movie though, in the films, man, because it really. I feel like it spoke to so much stuff going on during this past year.
I was trying my best to like capture at least the feeling of what it felt like to just be like stuck on Groundhog's Day and just kind of watching life change in subtle, horrific ways.
Yeah.
While you basically filter the rest of it through your television, and then like, how does that affect you when you're just like watching the world burn on television and worried about what you're gonna do? It's just been such a fucked up time. So I know. Trying to distill that into film as best we can, just like running and gunning,
Oh yeah. So was that kind of what you were doing? Like some shit would go down, and then you would add to the movie, and you would add to the record,
honestly, the record. I did the record in 10 days. It was never like, I never intended to release the record or anything. My life kind of like hit a fucking brick wall for a second.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know what to do with myself. So I went in the studio and just wrote all that shit in like 10 days. Wrote and recorded. Just didn't think about it. Whatever. Just exorcism style. Just trying to get the poison out. That's all it really was. Because it's not even like full songs, most of it. It's just like
great though.
A sentiment and move on. It's like anti-punk but still punk or something. And so after I did that, I sent it to a couple of friends, just like, hey, I did this week, and one of my friends has a label, and he's like, man, I want to put this out. And that was like, I don't know, in December or January, and then the vinyl showed up earlier this week. It was just like that. And
wow.
As soon as he wanted to put it out, we were like, well, I guess doing the record was kind of a healing thing because it kept me busy and
totally
helped me process shit. And then that's when it was like, okay, why don't we do a film for each one and just like make this into a series? And we all just jumped on it. You know what I mean? It's some kind of weird exposure therapy shit. And everyone just like donated their time, and we just knocked it out. We were like, we're going to do one a week, and that's how this is going. And just, I kind of had the whole picture like written out before we started.
Yeah.
But we definitely were like, we were, dynamic about it as it went. We would figure out little things here and there that might strengthen the situation. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It was really like, not so premeditated. Let's put it that way. This was not like, my next record is going to be Quarentina. It was not that. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's really cool, man. I love the sound. I love the direction, man. It's got like, like it sounds like like the stuff like Nick Cave's been doing recently.
For sure.
Or
for sure.
I want to say Scott Walker, but it's not. It's a little more. It's not as like sweepy as Scott Walker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Scott Walker is like kind of he's like aggressive with language in a way that I'm not really. You know what I mean? Like he really puts his dick out there. You know what I mean? He'll just say
totally,
some shit
man.
and you're like, whoa. But I love Scott Walker. So
yeah, he's great, man. Those records are fantastic. The Scott 4 I love.
Oh man, I mean, I even love the new shit, man. I'm a huge fan. So like,
Bish Bosh.
Bish Bosh is crazy, man.
Yeah,
so that's in there. You know what I mean? Like that's all in there. The Nick and Warren shit, that's all in there. Those are all like, they're like contemporaries, because when you look around and try to see like, okay, who are like contemporaries that are like kind of in the lane, I don't know, you know what I mean? Everyone's dead, man. So it's just like,
yeah, I know, right? It's true, because even there's, the one song I love is Yeshua. And and it's got, it's soulful, man, but it's like a dark soul. It reminded me of like I revisited Listen Without Prejudice last year. I got the box set, the George Michael album, and
oh shit,
that's a dark record, and it's a good fucking record, man.
Which one is it?
Listen Without Prejudice with Freedom on it.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
You ever hear that record?
No.
Oh, it's so good, dude. And I liked that in high school. I remember, like, I was like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? I really like this George Michael record. And now I
Right?
understand why I like the George Michael record, because it was really fucking good.
Because it's good, I know.
You know, like,
Wow.
I've gone back and, like, had these realizations of stuff that I really liked. You know, like,
well, yeah, because you don't think about it when you're that young. That's like me, like, you know, getting into Thriller or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't know anything when you're that age. You're just like, I just love this for some reason.
Yeah, right? And then you find, you know,
Yeah.
and then you just figure out who's playing on the record and
Oh, yeah.
the
Then you realize
songs.
Quincy Jones is in the room, you know, and you're like, no wonder this shit is fire, you know?
Yeah, Quincy Jones, Eddie Van Halen on the Beat It solo, and Steve Lukather from Toto played on that record, and some other cats, some real, like, it was all, like, top studio guys.
Oh,
You would get, like,
it's always heavyweights if Quincy's around, right?
yeah, it was always, like, just peak dudes. And,
Totally.
and I feel like that's happening again, like you're saying with hip-hop. I love how, you know, like Kendrick Lamar had, like, musicians on the record, and
Oh, yeah.
they're composed albums now. Like, Anderson .Paak is such a, he's
I mean,
awesome.
they're like psychedelic. Like, dude, To Pimp a Butterfly, speaking of Todd Rundgren, dude, that record is like, you know, it's like funkadelic meets Todd Rundgren, you know, like just in concept alone, you know, it's just like that kind of shit. It's,
and that's why
I would kill to hear a rock and roll record that did something like that, but I just don't ever hear that.
Do you hang out, like, 'cause you're in LA, man, do you hang out, like, you know, like, did you go to, like, the Low End Theory nights and,
Yeah, I've been to some of the Low End Theory nights. You know, I saw Kendrick play a couple times, like in clubs and shit. You know, but I don't go out that much. You know, I'm not really on the town that much.
No, I hear. What about Largo? You ever go to Largo? Is Largo even there?
I never
anymore?
have been to Largo. Everybody I know has been to Largo, but I do know John Bryan a little bit, and he's kind of
awesome.
like the resident dude there, or was for years.
Yeah, he does really good dark pop stuff too, man.
For sure.
Like,
for sure.
He's amazing. Like, the album Meaningless I have, so fucking good.
Yeah, he's super talented. I mean, he did a bunch of the strings on the Frank Ocean record. Like,
yes,
done a bunch of production on cool shit.
Yeah, it's really cool. I love how, like, you know, he's like bringing back, you know, like, I like how you have strings on this record too, man. Like, they're so done so nice and tastefully, and, like, you know,
sometimes
enough in
you
the
know,
background.
I've just heard guitars enough, dude. You know,
yeah,
so it's
totally.
like, you use other things as guitars, basically.
Yeah.
You know.
No, definitely, man. Because, you know, sometimes it gets, you know, a little into, you know, Schlager. You know,
it can get plotty.
Yeah, it's, you know, like, what is it? There was something I was, you know, there's some stuff that I listen to, and it's just too sweeping. I can't listen to shit that's too lush, you know, like.
I mean, especially in this time, it's like, that's the other reason why everything was short.
Yeah.
Because it's like, dude, everything, like, every 2 minutes, it's a new fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Life changes in, like, minutes at this point. You know? So, who knows? You know what I mean? You only have, like, a minute.
I know, that's right. No, it's cool. And that's the beauty of it. And that's what really, the economy of time, you know, like Dilla taught us that, right? Like, a lot of the producers taught us that, those guys, because they would make these amazing little symphonies in 40 seconds, a minute.
It's a cool challenge, you know, as an artist, for sure. It's a cool challenge because you're like, you know, I was in a band forever that was like, you know, by the end of it, we're like worshiping Sun Ra, you know, so we didn't give a fuck. We'll just play like 14-minute songs or whatever. But it's definitely a cool challenge to see if you can get the same sort of like dynamic in 2 minutes that you could in 14, you know? Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, those are great albums, man. I actually was revisiting your last few records, the last few Icarus Line records too, just to see the through line where you're going with this record as a listener, you know, and and it's just so cool, man. You guys are just doing such cool stuff. I hope that at some point, you know, that you guys, you can get all those albums back and like do something with them proper.
Yeah, that's the weird thing is like I kind of do have the rights, but the way that everything is set up these days is like it's hard to get shit back because basically, like Penance, that record came out on V2, and you know, even when we signed to V2. We
V2.
owned the digital rights because it was so early. They didn't even care about digital rights.
Yeah.
It was that early where they're like, we don't care. But for some reason, I1 Entertainment or whatever bought their catalog when they went out of business, and they just decided it's theirs and put, you know what I mean? So like, it's on me to get a lawyer.
Why does it have to be so? I just don't understand. Like, what's their gain to just be so adamant? To be obtuse, to be so obtuse.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck. I actually called a couple times and they hung up on me. You know, it was like that. It was just like, what? No.
Well, you could always do what Fear, like what Lee Ving did. He just re-recorded the record.
True, but I never want to sing those songs ever again.
I know, that's the thing. It would be nice though, but those are great albums in their time, you know, and
exactly.
You know what I found? I didn't realize this. I'm friends with Keith Morris on Facebook. And,
I know Keith.
He worked at V2. I didn't know that.
He was part of our A&R team. Keith was like part of the deal.
That's awesome.
That was part of the reason we even signed with V2 is because Keith was there, and it was like, all right, fuck it, Keith's here, let's do it.
How was he as an A&R guy?
I mean, he was kind of like, to be honest, he was kind of like the assistant to our A&R guy. You know? But he was like our day-to-day person. And it's Keith, man. He's cool. You know, he was, you know, it was like a relationship of like music fans. That's all
totally.
It was. It's like we all love the same kind of records and shit. And that's why we got along. And like, cool if we sell some records, whatever, you know, but we're having a good time making them and like talking about cool shit. So.
Yeah, it's really cool. He's such a cool guy, man. He's such a good dude.
He is.
You know, he's so talented. I remember seeing, I'm grateful, I got to see, where was it, at Generation Records in the city? Off played during one of the CMJs, and it was so cool.
Okay.
They played downstairs, and I think it was Generation. We went downstairs, and they played, and it was sick.
He's like, he's still got like an iron voice, man. That thing, he just goes.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, like, and then back in those early 2000s time, you know, when I was trying to hitch my ride onto bands, you know, it was like you guys, Cave-In was always huge for me, and Dillinger.
Yep, those are pals.
I feel like you guys were really, like, doing things different. Like, what I love was the concept of hardcore just being, like, twisted and tangled up, like Candiria was doing with, like, jazz and...
You remember Ink and Dagger?
Yes, but I don't listen to them that much. I should listen to them, huh?
Yeah, they were kind of like our big brother band, like them and Dillinger, really. They were like both like kind of brought us in.
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, they're great, man. And you know, like I got Greg Puciato's solo album from last year, Child Soldier, which is awesome.
Is it? I haven't heard it.
He's doing really cool things. Jeff Rickley from Thursday's got some really cool stuff he's doing solo.
Yeah. He ended up singing for Ink and Dagger during the reunions.
That's cool, man. You know, that's cool. Thursday's a band I went back. I felt like I kind of lumped them in with all the emo bands, and I wrongly did it. And then I went back and listened to them, and they're really good. And
I don't even remember what they sound like at all, to be honest.
They're cool. They're decent. It's not, you know, it's I'm going back through the Trail of Dead stuff too.
Okay, cool.
Did you like them?
Well, yeah, you know what? I like their performances more than I like their records. We toured with them a little bit.
Yeah.
It's such a weird era and kind of undocumented in such a strange way, you know? We're actually working on a movie about that era right now because Travis Keller, who did Buddyhead.
Yeah, totally.
He's one of my oldest friends. We're still pals. And he filmed everything we did. So there's like 300 hours over 6 years of footage of us basically playing with all the bands we just talked about.
That's great, man.
So, and like hanging out and whatever. So we're supposed to start it soon. Who knows? But yeah, we're supposedly coming out with some kind of document to kind of like hoist up that era because there just hasn't been much about it.
No, like the year punk broke, like 1991, the year punk broke type of movie or something.
Totally, that's
awesome,
the idea, dude. You know, for that era. Yeah.
Such
Dillinger, all that shit.
It was such a good time because above all the noise of like what was going on out of Williamsburg, there was this other scene going on, and that's where I was coming from.
Yeah.
And that's why I was largely not really writing from any places back then. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I'd rather. Yeah. I worked as a teacher aide at a special ed school, and I loved it. And I wrote here and there, and I did my own zine for a little while, and you know, and then you know, it's so funny because my into music writing was through like the jam band scene. And I wrote I was doing things that weren't jam bands, but I was pitching them because they're supposed to be like these omnivorous music fans. So I was like, oh, let me do this, let me do that. And then I started getting into, you know, and then I sort of hopped back, you know. I got back into Billboard. I've been hired and fired by Billboard since 1999. You know?
Wow.
But it's funny, but I'm grateful though, man. I'm grateful we all kind of came out of this. Like, it's kind of like the bubbles kind of burst. I feel like a lot of people kind of realize the put on now of that whole meet me in the bathroom era type shit. And you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah, definitely. Those of us who are still alive.
Yeah. And,
you know, get to survive it's a fucking miracle to me, honestly. I'm like, wow, I don't even know how I still get to make music.
Dude, you can even tell with music journalism, too, which is really cool, because, you know, I write for music fans, dude. I write for people, regular people that listen to music.
Yeah.
You know, even I run a site called Rock and Roll Globe. I'm the editor of the site Rock and Roll Globe. Have you ever checked out Rock and Roll Globe?
I don't know any sites anymore. So
you should check it out. It's a one cool site. We do one story a day, 1 or 2 stories a day, and you know, like yesterday we did a story about the first Time record turned 40 yesterday, so we did a story on that. The new Los Lobos album came out today, so someone wrote a thing about that, and but then we'll do other stuff. You know, I wrote a thing about Dusty Hill because he had died, which I'm pretty sad about still. You know, I love ZZ. I never saw ZZ Top, and I always wanted to see ZZ Top, but now I feel like now I got to see him without Dusty. It was like the one American band that had all 3 original members for 51 years.
Right. I know. I felt that way about Prince. I never went to see him.
Oh, you never saw Prince, man? Shit.
I never saw Prince. I fucking blew it.
No, I know, man. I've been there. You know, I feel that way about Greg Allman, and I have no excuse because they were touring all the time, and I just never went.
Prince did the month-full shows in fucking L.A. You know what I mean? I still just kind of slept on it.
Because you don't expect these people to die.
No, I mean, especially him, man.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
You know,
come on.
Yeah, especially him. But you didn't realize, you know, how fragile he was. I guess, you know, how compromised he was, his hips and...
Yeah, and people just, you know...
He was no spring chicken.
He was a pro, dude, so it wasn't like he was walking around like Scott Weiland letting everyone know he's on fucking dope or whatever. You know, he's a pro. He's Prince, dude. You know what I mean? He's Prince, you know? So you wouldn't know.
Yeah, definitely, man. Didn't you guys toured with Scott, didn't you, before he died? Didn't you guys?
Dude, yeah, on the tour he died on.
Oh, Jesus, really? I'm sorry about that, man.
We left before he died because I kind of saw the writing on the wall real early and just was like, I'm not sticking around for this shit.
He's heartbreaking. He's such a heartbreaker.
Yeah.
Because I really, I still fucking love Stone Temple. Those first 3 Stone Temple Pilot records, I fucking love.
Tiny Music is nuts.
I'm actually I do a reissue column for Spin. I just wrote a whole big thing about the box set that came out, and they were amazing, dude. They were so good, and they were
Tiny Music especially, like, his voice sounds different. I mean, there's something about that. Like, you know, like, I liked all those early records when I was younger, but, like, that record I can still, I don't know, there's something different about that record. And then it was kind of over after that. I don't know.
No, he did 12 Bar Blues, the solo record, which was really good. And,
yeah.
And then, but yeah, that one, there's like samba, bossa nova sounds on there, and on Tiny Music.
The tone of his voice, I don't know if it was like the amount of smack he was doing or what it was, man, but he just sounded like incredible. Fucked.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, you know. I'm grateful I got to see them a couple of times, and I got to see what was that other band he was in?
Don't know.
Oh, didn't he do some? No, I guess he no. I'm thinking. Forget it. I'm thinking of Velvet Revolver.
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah. I never saw that.
Yeah, they did a Lollapalooza, which was interesting, and it was cool. Incubus was on that tour too, and Incubus is another band I feel like I should respect, and I feel and I'm always dancing around.
They're terrible, man. Are you kidding me?
Right? Are they? They are, right?
They're trash. That shit's fucking hot garbage.
I'm telling you, it's sometimes I want to think, because the one guy, the guitarist, he works with like the internet, and he's, Mike Einziger. He's
There's
like
nothing
down.
anyone can say. That dude, the way that it's just terrible.
It is though. You're right.
They're just terrible.
No, it's true. There's some stuff where it's just you can't. I've never been into the National either. I don't like the National at all.
Yeah, the National is like a bunch of dentists or some shit. It's like, what the fuck is this, man? Like, these guys should be like putting my crown in, not playing music. What the fuck?
I know, right? And I just can't get into it. And it's just
It's some like white people that don't know shit about anything music. You know what I mean? That's what it's there for.
That's right. That's right. So then when when you got a band like I love Starcrawler. You like Starcrawler?
Yeah, man. I know.
Those kids.
I know the kids. Yeah, a little bit. Like my friend Annie Hardy from Giant Drag. She was like, she's like in the sphere of those people. So actually, Arrow from Starcrawler was in the Holy War movie that I did for the first solo record. She's in it a bunch.
That's awesome. Wow, she's cool, man. I interviewed them once, her and the guitarist, and they're funny kids, man. They're characters.
Yeah, they're so young, They're
and
like
she's
still just unlocking the mysteries.
She's so cool. She reminds me of like Patti Smith, Arrow, and how like just she's very confrontational on stage, isn't she? She like.
I've never seen him, to be honest.
What did she tell me? She said she went.
I've hung out and filmed with her, but I've never seen the band.
She told me that at one of their shows, someone brought a baby to the show, so she made a point to make the baby cry.
Wow.
That was funny.
Not hired for the babysitter, I guess.
Oh my God! But they were young kids. What do you expect? They were like, I don't expect anything less.
I remember wanting to make everybody cry,
And I said that I thought it was exciting because I felt like, wow, these kids can like shake the youth up a little, but the youth are already getting shaken up, like.
I mean, they got Playboy Cardi, so they're good. You know what I mean? Like that shit's as wild as it gets. It's like completely insane.
Do you think we'll ever see another day of another period of like all ages shows? Like, I envision like parent approved all ages hardcore shows with like parents that are in the hardcore scene.
I think rock and roll is pretty much dead, in the sense that like jazz is. I think it's it's a genre that like I think probably has like reached its like cultural impact is not going to ever be what it was. You know what I mean? It's just
totally.
And like I'm not knocking it. It's just the way it is. It's just how this shit goes. I don't think it's gonna like come back. Like everyone's always like, oh, there's gonna be a new fucking. Nah, not really. There's never gonna be another Miles Davis either. It's just not gonna happen because the world moves on. It's not really about anything but just.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's how I feel about it. Even if there is big bands like the Foo Fighters or whatever, that shit does not like. Yeah. It is not a cultural thing anymore, it's not, it has nothing to do with zeitgeist or any of that shit.
No, but that's good. Something to do with good songs. If there's people that are writing good songs, like I listened to the
Totally.
I was listening to the Billie Eilish album today. The Billie Eilish album just came out. Wow, what a fucking record, man.
Yeah, see, I haven't heard any of that
yet either. Dude, she is no joke. Her brother is serious, man, as a producer. I mean, that guy, like, there's some parts where it's like, it sounds like there was one beat that sounds almost like something from like the Downward Spiral, but like repurposed. And there's parts of it that sound like I could hear her channeling PJ Harvey in some moments, but it's more pop, and it's just I can't explain it. You have to listen to it, and you'll kind of know where
we're like in post everything mode too, So
yeah.
it's like it's like I don't know. It reminds me of like some shit I heard about the fall of the Roman Empire when, like, no new art forms were developed and they all just kind of became this amalgamation of, like, regurgitation.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not saying it's always bad, but it's just, that's, like, where we are. It's this weird sort of, like, you know, it used to cycle, like, every 15 years, trends kind of came back or whatever, and now it's just all of them at once.
It's true. Yeah, it's the whole thing about the internet and 24-hour news. You know, that's why I feel like I saw a friend I haven't seen in a long time, and, you know, and people where I grew up in Ulster County, New York, man, you know, it's been very eye-opening to see how many Trump people I grew up with. And not surprising, but some of them are just not bad people. They're not people that I just want to directly be like, fuck you to. And
of course.
And but the way they just are with the vaccines and the whole thing about, you know, well, it's liberty and it's my freedom and freedom of choice and all this stuff, and it's just
media shit. You know what I mean?
It is, and that's what it is. And I told this girl, I was like, dude, it's like this has happened since. It was the combination of the internet and then 24-hour news cycles.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, there's really no going back at this point. The internet's kind of irrevocably changed everything forever, you know?
Did you watch Into the Storm, the QAnon thing?
No, but I've done a little bit of research. I kind of had to, like, turn off of the news after they got rid of Trump. I was like, okay, I'm done for now. I can't, you know what I mean? Like, that dude on the news was just like, I mean, sometimes he was hilarious, to be honest. You know, he was so fucking insane, you know, that it was just like, shit was funny, you know, but really in this morbid-ass way where you're just like, man, this would be funny if it wasn't real, you know? Like, so after that, I just reached, like, peak burnout and just was like, I can't anymore. Because it really doesn't have, you know, I don't know. It's like, if it's having bad effects on your, like, mental stability or just like your happiness, then what the fuck is it worth?
It's not worth anything. It's just getting you madder and madder. And like it's funny because I still kind of catch myself watching footage of the Capitol riots, and I don't know why I do it.
Yeah,
it's like
because it's insane.
That's the thing. It's like I can't not watch it. It's not like me. I just don't get it. Part of me just is like, I'm trying to figure it out, and it just makes no sense. And it just, you know, and then to see these, you know, all the people, you know, all these assholes mocking the 4 police officers. They flipped the whole script on us, though. That's the whole thing. They flipped the whole script. It was like supposed to be like, you know, wasn't that supposed to be like Bad Brains' agenda, like kind of striking lightning on the D.C. Capitol and all this stuff, and painting the White House black.
You know what? They got a lot of those people, man. You know what I mean? There's like a lot of punk people.
Dude. Dude, believe it. Metal and punk are so conservative, man.
Exactly. Like,
oh my god.
And that's what I mean about the genre just being like dead. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, man, you people are so far off the mark at this point. It's like, fuck. It's cool to go back to some of those records, but like living there is like some kind of fucked up fantasy that I am just not down with, never been down with.
No,
you know?
totally.
It's like,
no way, man.
It's like nostalgia sickness or some shit.
I got trolled in 2016 I got trolled by Ross the Boss. That was pretty fucking cool.
Wow.
Ross the Boss, dude, he is so hardcore right wing, that guy.
Is he?
Oh my god. You know who else is super right wing? Mo Tucker from the Velvet Underground.
Mo Tucker, dude. What the fuck?
Look up Mo Tucker, dude. Look her up on Facebook. Look her up. She's always like she's on some like old white lady shit now, and I feel
yeah, so is a lot of them, dude. Exene from X.
Oh god.
Yeah, a lot of them are like that, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, I just, you know, I had to jump shit from all that stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
I had to.
You know, I like to appreciate it like some old fine art or something. Like you're looking at a fucking Picasso, but like, I don't want to know what they're doing today.
Yeah, and I don't know if I want to, you know, and like I said, I can't really be listening to Los Angeles like I did now that I know Exene doesn't believe fucking Sandy Hook happened, and it's like
exactly. That shit's fucked up. You know?
It is fucked up. It's super fucked up.
There's a few artists from back then that still like kind of try to like stay in the fucking, you know, stay contemporary. Like even John Cale will like surprise me.
Yeah,
every
definitely.
once in a while, you know, like he's adventurous and he doesn't fuck around. But like, or like David Sylvian, you know, like
yeah, totally.
Or Scott Walker, anyone like that. But man, a lot of the old punk people and like rock and roll people, they're just a fucking embarrassment.
Yeah, totally, man. Well, that's where, you know, it's interesting going back and, you know, I do like hearing like some of the you know, like when like the Chills put out a new record. I'd be interested in hearing it. Or you know, Roddy Frame from Aztec Cameras puts out solo records.
Yeah.
And they're nice. They're kind of pedestrian, but they're all right. You know, they're cool.
Kid Congo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Kid Congo
does some cool shit. You know, like there's still cool people from like all eras. You know, it's just honestly. Most of the ones that are like into the bogus shit are, you can tell because they're like caricatures, you know?
Yeah, totally.
They're like some bad drawing of what they used to be. You know,
it's
which
true.
is just, it's like, fuck, man, didn't you guys were like into Bowie, weren't you? Like, did you see what he did? He never stood still. So like, what the fuck is this?
I know, right? It's true. It's true.
He never stood still and he went out like a G. You know, it's just like...
That's right. That album was so good.
It's insane. So, like, if you see that and you're still trying to, like, figure out how to fill the room with hits just to have a job...
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't relate to none of that shit because music has always been artwork to me. So it's like, you know, if you can't pay your bills, like, yeah, I get it. I haven't been able to at times, you know, but I'm not going to, like, try to figure out what people want, you know, that's not, none of the good shit is that.
Yeah, people know what they like, and they'll come to you, you know, that's, and I get on, you know, and if you're into music, I mean, I get on kicks, so it's like, I don't know, Bandcamp has been really fun, like, getting into bands and getting into new acts on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Because I find some really cool stuff, like, you know, I forgot, I don't know how to pronounce the name, Namdi, and then AMDI. He's opening up for, oh God, they're doing a tour. I don't know if it's Wilco or something. He's opening up for someone big, but he's cool. He did this one album. Some of it sounds like Future Soul, and then he put out another thing for free, and it sounds like Mr. Bungle or something.
Oh, wild.
It's crazy. It sounds like Zappa, you know, like just that real kind of, you know, that real kind of cartoony orchestration, you know, that.
Yeah, freak jazz or some shit.
Yeah, freak jazz stuff. It's crazy, but it's like, this kid's definitely listening to Bungle, though. I could tell, like, this kid's definitely listening to the first Mr. Bungle record.
Right.
He put out an R&B record, now he's putting out some Bungle shit, and I was like, that's awesome.
It is, though. And there's a lot of good shit right now, you know, it's just...
There is.
It's just very sort of contained in its own elements, a lot of it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's such a weird time. It's such a weird time because everything's been democratized to such a level that, like, you know, this was supposed to be the great equalizer, the internet, right? You know, it was supposed to, like, even the playing field. But, I mean, all it did was make it worse, really.
No.
Like, it's cool that anyone can record and anyone can make a film. Like, I take advantage of all those things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, as far as, like, mainstream success or, like, getting outside of your sort of niche, that, I think, has become increasingly more of an uphill battle for a lot of people. Because, dude, I mean... Since Cobain blew his head off, you know, they have not been signing junkies. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
That's true.
There's a fucking, you know, there's kind of a mandate of what gets money behind it at this point, and the bottom fell out. So of course, you know, once that happened, it was like, sure bets only, pop only.
I know.
TikTok stars.
And even the guys that are, even the young geniuses have died. You know, fucking Mac Miller died at 26, which is horrible. And Juice WRLD died. Those two guys, just like Travis Scott, I feel like they were like three guys that were really making things happen, right? And Post Malone too, I think. I think Post Malone is great. I don't know.
Man, there's a lot of talent in that like generation. You know what I mean? There's definitely like they're definitely like doing their own thing, which is like the most important thing.
Yeah, definitely, man. And and it's so funny because they get judged by like their face tattoos and all this stuff, and then they just put out this great music.
Yeah, I mean, and back then people were getting judged because of whatever. You know?
Yeah, it was all the same thing.
Chuck Berry had to wear a dress to play in a white club, so like.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's amazing to hear all the stories now. Everything, it's wild. It's just, but it's interesting, and there still is, and it's nice to know there still is someone like a Billie Eilish that'll push it through. Even Miley Cyrus, man, I feel like she's
she's singing fucking Bikini Kill songs at her shows.
She's great, man. She's like real. Yeah. I mean, she's a real one, the real one,
sure.
Right?
I respect her. I've always kind of liked what she's about, even though she's like a fucking Disney star or whatever. But
that's cool.
There's something different about her. She's not like Ariana Grande or some sort of like plastic model chick. You know what I mean? She still looks like a human being.
What about Harry Styles' solo records? You like those?
I don't know anything about it.
They're actually cool. They're not bad. They're interesting albums, man. I feel like he was the one that of One Direction that kind of just went like he was like the head full of creativity.
Yeah, like, I'm so far from like white music at this point as far as like the mainstream goes. Like I could talk about rap all day, but I have no idea about most of these people now. Like
there's some great.
I haven't heard most of it.
There's some awesome rap though. I mean, there's some awesome soul music. I love Stone Throw. It's always one of my favorite labels. I love the stuff they're putting out.
Yeah, they're killer, man. They're fucking killer.
I just got this new thing they have coming out called the Steeples. That's really cool. I don't know. And then Sudan Archives I like a lot.
Sudan's awesome, dude.
She's great.
My friend Jack actually I think he got her on the label. My friend Jack plays with Adrian Young.
Oh, very cool. Yes, I like Adrian too a lot.
Yeah, Adrian's cool, man. Those are all local dudes here where I live. You know what I mean? Like I live in Highland Park.
Yeah, Highland Park. That's the whole. That's where it's happening, right?
Yeah. Strangely enough, because I grew up here, and when I grew up here, it was more like talking about like fucking hazard gangs and shit. You know what I mean? But like, now there's shit popping here. It's fucking weird, man. Like there was no record stores here when I was a kid. There was just like drive-bys.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful how I grew up. Even I grew up. It's so funny. Boys in the Hood's 30 years old, and just what we, how we were, even just being from New York, and just how we were perceived Compton to be, just through film and The Source and all this stuff.
Compton's still tough.
but the fact that some parts are now like artist communities and really artist driven, it's beautiful. Like I lived near Newburgh, New York, which was a real bad hood for a long time.
Yeah.
And now there's like a jazz center there. There's my friend Chrissy has like a really cool store there. There's like shops and it's very strange because I used to go there get my weed there, and we used to go get our bricks of Mad Dog 2020 at one of the liquor stores I never carded and shit, and now there's like a jazz center there or like a quaint restaurant.
I mean, there was nothing here, and now there's like 10 record stores, man. It's like
that's cool. Are they cool record stores? Can you find good stuff at least? Is there good like? Is there dollar bins?
Yeah, there's all kinds of cool shit here now. It's like a real neighborhood. I mean, not that it wasn't back then, but there's an upside and a downside because everyone gets priced out.
Yeah, of course.
I only live here because my folks bought a house here and they moved, so I'm in their house. But there's the upshot and the downshot. Like the artist vanguards these neighborhoods, and then the white ladies with strollers come in and fucking fuck up the rent,
But it's been like that all the time. That was like that on Leonard Street in the city, where that's why the Knitting Factory left, which I hated. And Tonic, I used to love Tonic, man. I was at Tonic all the time. Did you ever go to Tonic in the city?
I did.
The place was awesome. Dude, I saw Mike Patton there.
And Lit.
Lit was cool too, man. Those are such awesome places.
Brownies.
Brownies,
yeah, New York,
Luna.
New York had a good, loud rooms, man. Dude, I even played CBGBs. That's how old I
am. That's awesome. Wait, when did you play? Did you do did you do the hardcore matinee or did you just do a regular night?
No, we did I played there twice and we just did 2 shows. It was like the first couple times we went to New York, we played CBs.
Did you hang out with Hilly?
Like a dream come true. Like, just by the skin of our teeth, we got to play CBs. We got to play Gilman Street. We got to play a bunch of places that are like, whoa, how did that happen? You know, Jabberjaw here in LA. You know, I mean,
that's cool.
We were fucking children. You know, we got started really young.
But that's the LA thing, dude. That's like Red Cross. Red Cross was the same way.
Mm-hmm.
The teen babes from Monsanto, right?
I mean, dude, I dropped out of high school to go on tour, you know, so it was like...
Dude, that's awesome, man. Yo, let me tell you, man, I found Red Cross Third Eye on CD. I've been looking for this. I love that album.
Yeah, man.
Third Eye.
They were awesome.
They were so good. I didn't realize how young they were, those kids, man.
They were kids. They were babies, you know. I mean, we kind of looked up to them that way, you know. It's like, fuck, man. Like, if... those guys could do it when they were like basically high school kids. Like, we were like, fuck it, let's go.
Look at Harley Flanagan. He was like 12 playing with the Dictators. That's crazy. Insane. I love Harley Flanagan. I interviewed him. He was fun.
Yeah, I bet.
He was really. I was trying to convince him to do like a folk country record or something. I was telling him you should do like a down record, like a downer record or something. I think it would be so cool for him to do like almost like a Johnny Cash.
Him and Nick Oliveri.
Yeah, Nick. Would you like Nick? What do you think of Nick Oliveri?
I think he's cool, man. He's always been nice to me. You know, like we toured with Lanigan on the Bubblegum record.
Yes, that's such a great album. And he played on that.
And Oliveri was the opening act. It was like Oliveri, the Icarus Line, and Lanigan Band.
That's really cool. I gotta give him a second chance, man. I gotta give Nick Oliveri a second chance. I feel like I lost base with him when he left Queens of the Stone Age, and
you know, I don't really know much about anything he does these days, but every time I've seen him, he's always been really nice to me, and that's pretty much what I based my opinion on.
Yeah, that's all you can base your opinion on of people, man. If they're real people to you and they're good. You know,
that's it.
And I feel like you seem like the kind of guy you pick up on vibes with people too, right? I mean, you kind of can tell like when it's a put on.
Well, I grew up in LA, so you know what I mean? It's the fakest shit on earth, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, real early on, kind of, you know, it's like growing up in New York, you know, just a different kind of shit. You know, New York, it's like a street thing, and here it's like. Almost like you pick up on like industry phonies like real young, and just I kind of saw the backside of it like really young. My dad was a child actor and shit, so I saw like the aftermath of Hollywood from a very young age, you know, and was like already kind of cynical towards it, you know. I mean, that's why it was like punk bands and shit, you know, because it was just like, yeah, fuck this shit.
What was your dad in?
Just all kinds of like weird shit like Gunsmoke and Bonanza, and he was like a child actor in the 60s, you know?
That's awesome. Wow, that's wild.
William Castle film, you know, shit like that, you know? Like, he was, that was his deal, you know? But his career was kind of over by the time he hit puberty, so...
And then what did he do? What did he do as an adult?
Involved in film and video and whatever, you know, just like keeping the family alive. I mean, he worked at Universal's, like for Universal for years doing like craft services and shit on a union, you know. He was like a union member.
That's awesome.
For like most of my childhood, like graveyard shift, working on Poltergeist or whatever, you know what I mean? Just like supporting his family.
Oh my God, which Poltergeist? The second one or the first one?
First one, man. The first one for sure. I was even on set.
Were you? How old were you?
Like 1? No, I don't know. Like, yeah, I was young, dude. I was really young.
That was just, I can't believe they made that. I don't know how that got a PG rating. I don't understand how that got a PG rating.
Fucking awesome movie, though.
Oh, it's so good. I love it.
I've been revisiting a lot of the horror from that era.
Oh, yeah.
Exorcist, fucking Friedkin, forget it, dude.
Yeah, William Friedkin. I interviewed him once.
Oh, really? He's wild, huh?
He's very cool because they did the soundtrack. They reissued the soundtrack to Cruising, And
Cruising's fucking awesome.
It's such
and
a
the
crazy.
soundtrack is fucking awesome.
Yeah, that soundtrack is incredible, man. That soundtrack is insane.
That soundtrack's kind of been a big inspiration for the record I'm doing with Mark Lanigan. Like, it's kind of like
really,
it's like half of the. I have a record with Lanigan coming out.
Yeah.
And half of the record really could like be in Cruising almost.
That's awesome.
Know? I love that movie.
He's so good. Mark Lanigan, he's like, you know, I want it when people think about like, you know, the real, like, you know, guys like Guy Clark or Townes Van Zandt or fucking Jesse, you know, like the real
he's the real shit.
I feel like, you know, in 30 years, kids are gonna be like discovering those records.
I hope so, man, because he's just like. He's got like one of those God-given gifts, you know what I mean? Like his voice is just there, it's done. It's like a fully formed entity, you know, which is like fucking rare, dude.
Oh yeah, totally, man. You know, we actually I'll send it to you. What's your email?
wakenthepm@gmail.
At wakenthepm@gmail. All right, fine. One of my writers did a story on Dust because it turned 25 recently.
Oh, cool.
And I love that record. Screaming Trees Dust was one of the best records in '96.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's so good. And the solo records, like I've been a fan of the solo records since like Whiskey for the Holy Ghost. That was
Did
like
you read his book?
I haven't, but I haven't read it. I gotta read it.
Dude, you got it.
I'm sitting on some cool books. I have that one. I have Ricky Lee Jones' book, Matt Sorum. I'm interviewing Matt Sorum on August 13th.
Dude, check out the Lanigan book.
I will. Yeah, I'd like to talk. I would love to talk to him one of these days because he's got. I don't know. He really knows. He's so adaptable. Like, the guy he really knows how to, he's a stylist in his own way, right?
Yeah, he can sing on anything. That dude can sing the phone book, you know what I mean? That's his whole shit.
Yeah.
Like, you put words in front of him, and he sings it, and it's like, oh, cool, that's a record.
Yeah, weren't they trying to revive Mad Season with him at one point?
He wrote a bunch of shit for Mad Season, and I think he still gets paid off of it.
Wow, I wish they put out a second record with him.
Just read the book though, you know, because honestly, he like fucking details all that shit.
I know, yeah.
In between talking about like being a crack dealer.
It's crazy. It's so crazy. Yeah, that's another guy that, you know, as I get older, I really have learned to appreciate Alice in Chains so much. And
I was never much of a fan of Alice in Chains, but I think the singer had something good going on.
He was great, man. And Jerry Cantrell is awesome, man. Like, his solo records I like better than the Alice records, actually. Like I love Degradation Trip, which is
I don't even know.
It's him. It's a trio. It's Jerry Cantrell and Robert Trujillo on bass and Mike Borden from Faith No More on drums. And it's such a sick record. There's like a 2-volume version that's really good. When I actually interviewed Mike Borden, and he was the one that told me to get the 2-volume version because I was asking him all about it. I'm a fan of that record, and he's good, man. And those guys had such a great. I loved how they harmonized together, man. They really sang well together, Jerry and Lane. You know.
Like I said, Lane had something going on for sure. Like he had something. He had a. That's what Mark always says. Like, he's the best singer you ever seen.
Really?
Lane.
Yeah, I know. We got gypped because he could have put out. You know, he had who knows what could have had he survived. You know, he would have put out some really cool stuff because he was a great artist, man. You know, and it's just these guys. You're right. It sucks. It's just fuck heroin. I tried heroin once and I hated it. I got sick to my stomach and it was horrible. And it was the worst thing I ever put in my body. And it was gross.
You either love it or you don't. You know what I mean? That's what I know.
Yeah, I know, right? I never deviated from weed. Weed and coffee, those are like my two vices. You know?
I mean, you know, I don't really talk about drugs in interviews too much, but, you know, there was definitely some records made on heroin that everyone loves, so what are you going to do?
I know, but that's the thing. It's always been like that. You know, even if you want to bring that to a general term, you know, think about some of the amazing records that were made on heroin by, like, legendary artists from the 60s and the jazz records made on that shit, like with Charlie Parker or Coltrane. And
yep. It's hard to argue with somehow.
It's an amazing thing. It's crazy. But now it's not even, but dude, now heroin's not even like that. Now it's like, you know, it's just an extreme version of, like, what is it, Oxycontin? What is the trajectory?
I don't even know what people would do these days, because it's just, probably like shit like that, or like promethazine or some shit.
Yeah, it's something, because it's starting from pain relief. Like a lot of, like, you know, football players and, like, you know, athletes, you know, end up in Camden, New Jersey, trying to cop. And but it's not like the junkie chic thing anymore. It's like this other.
I mean, it's pills, bro. Like that was my generation, really.
Yeah, the pills.
Like, yeah, pretty much. You know, because like why stab yourself in the arm if you don't have to?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm still. You know, I still take the medication I'm on very hesitantly. I just rather just blaze and drink my coffee.
Yeah, that's probably the best plan.
Seriously, you know, if there's anything that's bad for me, then my wife has been, you know, I'm trying to be good. It's like I love milk. I don't know why I love fucking milk. I'm like the dude from The Professional, Jean. You remember the hitman from The Professional?
I do know.
And I love milk, man. But I'm trying to kick that. That's like more of a killer than
good. You should just keep drinking it, dude. Who cares?
I'm too old, man. I'm gonna be old.
Drink your milk.
I love my fucking.
Drink that milk.
But I've been drinking more water. You drink a lot of water, man?
I'm drinking water right now.
Yeah, you know, ice cold water. You
have to drink water out here.
I know. How's it going out there? You
never know when it's gonna stop.
Dude, what's going on? We've seen I can't believe there was actually smoke from over there here. We saw it here in Jersey.
Yeah, this whole fucking planet's burning down, dude.
What's gonna happen? I mean, you know, like, I feel like...
You know what's gonna happen? It's gonna be a fucking, like, an inferno across the country, and then, that's it. You know, that's where we're headed.
Well, we'll see. I like to think that... I'm still an idealist where, you know, I like to think that Generation X is gonna come to the rescue again.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
And, like...
They're gonna have to figure out some, like, desalinization plants or some shit over here, because...
Yeah, I don't understand. I thought Gavin Newsom was supposed to be like the spruce goose.
I mean, I'm not a hater on Newsom, but a lot of people are. They're trying to do a referendum on his ass right now, and it's like, you know, another fucking dog and pony show from, you know, conservative knuckleheads.
I know. Like, what are you gonna get? That's the thing. Like, there's some dangerous conservative dudes out in California.
We're gonna have Caitlyn Jenner.
No way. That can never happen.
You never know, dude.
I mean, Arnold wasn't horrible. I like Arnold. How was Arnold?
Like a puppy dog compared to, like, Rand Paul and some of these other fucking idiots.
God.
You know?
Matt Gaetz.
He's like an old school Republican, which is like basically what Democrats are now.
I know, that's true. It's so true, dude. It's so fucking true. Matt Gaetz. Yeah, I hate that guy.
Yeah, we got some weird shit going on.
That weasel face. He's got that weasel face. Oh God. It's like if you oh God, it's like if you like microwave Leonardo DiCaprio's face for like 20 seconds in the microwave, you'd end up with fucking Matt Gaetz.
Yeah, it's like the end of Temple of Doom or some shit.
Yeah. And then Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's a nut. Like, what's up with these girls, man? I don't understand, because we're like,
I don't know.
This is the thing that really, we're in the middle of this whole, like, you know, empowerment movement, which is amazing. The Me Too movement was so necessary. And I love how, like, you address some of that stuff in the film. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Dude. It's beautiful. It's great, though. It's very real. Because think about how many relationships that shit went down these last 16 months. I mean.
Yeah, of course.
And, but now you have people like Boebert and Elise Stefanik over here in New York, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's almost like Phyllis Schlafly again, all over again. You know, like the remember all the women that were against like Glorious, like Mrs. America. You remember the? Did you see?
Yeah.
You know, so it's almost like that now, and it's just they don't even hide it. They don't even.
I mean, the court of public opinion is always dangerous. It's a dangerous trench. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, it's true. But it's always been. And even watching the Woodstock 99 documentary the other night just made me realize, like, wow, these are like Trump voting. These are the Trump voters, man. These are the Trump voters.
Yeah, they are. Oh, fuck yeah, they are.
Wow. That was crazy. You didn't go to Woodstock 99, did you? Were you there?
Nah, I was like in my bedroom not doing homework or some shit.
Yeah, you were too young for that shit, right?
Kinda.
Oh my! And you were in California. You were in LA, so it was like.
I was in LA. Yeah, I was trying to like figure out how to like teach Black Flag songs to my friends.
That's awesome. What Damage turns 40 in like November. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's wild.
That's awesome. Did you ever get to meet any of like the like Henry Rollins or Kira?
Rollins been in the fold. I never really met any of them. I met Bill Stevenson because my high school band Cankersores played with the Descendants.
Yeah.
Once, but you know, all those bands were gone by the time I was like, you know what I mean? Like I just had to see them like by watching Decline of Western Civilization or some shit. You know, that was my introduction to punk. Was kind of like that movie. You know? Yeah,
definitely. And I always liked you know, see, when I was, you know, like 9th grade, probably when I started reading, like, you know, the college radio stuff, and it was like when the Chili Peppers were getting big, Thelonious Monster, and there was all these bands coming out of L.A., Jane's, you know, the early Jane's stuff, the Triple X album and all that.
Oh, yeah, like Slip Away, shit like that.
Yeah, with like Whores and 1% and all that stuff on there, and
yeah, I remember that.
It was such great stuff. And Fishbone. I've been listening to Fishbone so much lately, man.
My old A&R guy was in Thelonious Monster.
Oh, really?
Keith Morris's boss.
Oh, that's cool. Wow.
Weird, right?
Yeah, and then Bob Forrest had his doing the Celebrity Rehab.
Yeah, that was fucked. I couldn't watch that, dude.
I know, that was rough, man. Especially
That's
with
like taking advantage of people when they're like literally on their last leg. I don't know.
Well, that was VH1 back then. They were doing all that shit. It was so uncomfortable.
Some
of the most
nasty.
That Bands Reunited was some of the most uncomfortable television I ever saw in my life, man.
Yeah, they did some weird shit for sure. I like Flavor of Love. That was on
Flavor of Love was fun, but my favorite was I remember what's his face kept it real. He told those people to get the fuck out of his face. Nuno Betancourt. Because they were trying to do like an extreme, and I was like, that's right. Nuno's no joke, man. That dude is fucking. They're from Boston, man. Those guys, they're no joke, man. And Nuno Betancourt is like Rihanna's musical director, or he tours with him. She's her guitarist. Yeah, he's her guitarist.
Does she sing more than words?
I don't know.
That'd be funny.
That'd be great if she sang like "Get the Funk Out" or something. Oh my God, that's some funny stuff, man. So so you're working on the Mark Lanigan? When is that? When do you guys plan to get that out?
October, I think.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's so cool. What label is putting it out?
It's actually a book publishing company, Rare Bird Literature. I mean, he does records and shit too, but
yeah.
But like, yeah, his primary focus has been like literature. But the owner's a music guy and has been around. You know what I mean? We've just been friends for a long time, and I don't know. It seemed like the right place, you know.
That's all, and it's more like synth-driven stuff. Like
kinda. I mean, yeah, kinda. I mean, half of it kind of feels like Quarentina shit, you know, like super minimal, and then the second half is kind of like Paris at 4 a.m. in like 1978 or something, like you know, Marauder, Land or some shit.
Yeah, that's great stuff, man. The Midnight Express soundtrack and all that.
I have it on vinyl. I just saw it when I was looking through my records.
That's so funny. Yeah, that's one of the things I always love when I get into I hear stuff and then I hear it again in a whole other context because I'm a big wrestling fan, you know, and I used to love old WCW and old NWA from the 80s, and I used to love the Midnight Express, the tag team, and they would come out to the Giorgio Moroder theme.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, that dun 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 dun.
Back before you had to pay royalties for that shit.
Yeah, that was when like Hulk Hogan would come out to Eye of the Tiger and shit, and
Yep.
JYD would come out to like Another One Bites the Dust. Yeah, they never had to pay royalties, but then that happened. So but yeah, that's some good stuff, man. What do you think? What's like the most underrated Marauder soundtrack, you think?
I don't know, but I like his record with Sparks.
Yeah. Did you see that?
What I mean?
Did you see that Sparks movie yet?
No, I want to.
Do you like them? Do you have those records,
Yeah.
the Sparks records?
Yeah, I like Sparks. They're good.
They're great,
They're
man.
LA.
I love them, man. I love Indiscreet. That's my favorite Sparks record.
Which one?
Indiscreet.
Okay.
And Kimono My House I love too.
Yeah, I like the Marauder one.
Yeah, I got it.
Thanks in my pants.
I don't have that. I need that.
Oh yeah, that shit's sick, dude.
I also more thanks to Jay Dilla than Guardians of the Galaxy. I got into 10cc.
Oh yeah.
Because of
which song? I'm not in love.
Yeah.
Oh,
but then there's
my dad did a music video for that when I was like 5.
Such a great song, man. But then you realize, and then you hear Donuts, and then you hear the working on it, and then you hear the worst band in the world. I finally got that record, the one with that song on it. It's so cool. I love digging into that shit, man. I started getting into like Pablo Cruz. You ever got into Pablo Cruz?
I don't know Pablo Cruz.
That's some real. It's like, you like there's Steely Dan, but then there was like these Steely Dan kind of adjacent acts. Like that kind of came out of that scene. It's interesting stuff. And then it kind of hit, like, it's kind of like, that AM shit. I don't know. Some of it's good.
I like Steely Dan.
I love Steely Dan, man.
Who doesn't, right?
They were dirty dudes, man, those guys. It's so funny because there was such a big dust up because the Two Against Nature won Album of the Year over Eminem. But I think Two Against Nature is probably like a ruder album than Eminem, man. Than Marshall Mathers.
Probably.
Cousin Dupree and all that shit.
Dirty work.
They were so good, man. That's another thing. I'm bummed that I'm not going to get to see them with Walter Becker. I'd have to just see him with Donald Fagen, which is fine, but,
Yeah. I mean, that should be fine.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine, but, we'll see what happens, man. What's going on, and what's happening with I guess the Icarus Line is just done, right? You guys aren't going to do anything again, or?
Alvin's dead, so
yeah.
I'm not in the band ever again.
That's it, right? Because he's gone, right? There's no...
That was, like, our thing, you know what I mean? So,
no, I get it.
And, like, I did it. What the fuck do I need to do that for,
Yeah, no, I'm so... I see that, I think... are Caven done? Or are they doing...
You're asking the wrong guy.
Because I'm wondering, because Caleb had died, too, and I'm like, he was such a big part of the band.
Yeah, he played in the Icarus Line, too.
Jesus, dude. It sucks that these guys... I don't like hearing these guys dying, too. Like...
That was a shock when Caleb died, dude.
Yeah, it was just... it's like, it was on the... He hit a toll booth, right?
Something fucked up.
Oh.
Yeah, something fucked up. Yeah, he was like... He moved to L.A., like, before that, played in the Icarus Line for a while, and then he moved back and then, like, died, like, a couple years later or some shit.
Oh, man. I think that would be really cool. I hope you guys do that movie, man, honestly. I really think, because I think that is a period that is so awesome and so crucial and needs to be documented.
It's not really documented, so that's what we're kind of, like, going to try to, like, do that, try to, like, represent a little bit.
What about Q and Not You? Do you like them? Were you into... They were They were like a later Discord band.
I don't know them. The only Discord shit I know really is like Face Void era. You know what I mean? Like that stuff. And Fugazi kind of.
Yeah, definitely, man. No, definitely. And Soul Side.
Yeah, Soul Side, kind of. I don't really know their music. I just remember them. DC is a weird city. Yeah,
I'm a big Girls Against Boys fan, so that's how I know Soulside, because Scott was in that band.
Yeah, but Girls Against Boys, I know a lot of people like them. I don't really, again, it's kind of like a blind spot for me.
Yeah, they were. I like House of GVSB. I really like, because I was in college, and it was just the combination of like bringing house music into like that sound that they had. That weird,
like post-punk shit.
Yeah, that weird mid-90s post-punk kind of touch-and-go AMREP, kind of vibe. There's this band Cherubs. You like Cherubs?
Don't know.
They're cool. They're another like AMREP band that this Harvey Milk too. I like. You like Harvey Milk?
I don't know Harvey Milk either.
They were
Is
another.
Is this all DC shit?
No, they were like How the hell did I get into Harvey Milk? They were on like they're from Athens, Georgia actually, but they're like a metal band. They're like almost like a Melvins type band.
I know a good Discord band, the Monarchy.
Yeah, they're good. The Monarchy is slept on.
They're fucking sick.
Definitely. And yeah, totally. And then in Sub Pop, I've been kind of. Do you like what kind of Sub Pop stuff do you like? Are you big into any of that stuff?
I don't know.
Outside of like
the Devils.
Outside like the Mark Lanigan albums, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I had a Sunny Day Real Estate record in high school.
The one that one is good. I like Diary is a great record.
Yeah, that one.
And Return of the Frog King, the Jeremy Enig solo record was cool. Did you remember that one?
I don't know.
The Frog King.
If I heard that.
And then wait, did they put out a record? Who the hell put out a record? There was someone like really unexpected that put out a record. It wasn't Love and Rockets, was it? Jesus and Mary Chain. Didn't they put out Monkey on it? They had Monkey.
Yeah, that record's sick.
It's great. People sleep on that record, dude. People sleep.
Yeah, everyone slept on that record.
So hard. Dude, they slept on that record, and then they slept on, there was that other record that came out before that.
Yeah, there's like a 3-album run right there. That's sick.
Yeah, Honey's Dead is my favorite of the Jesus stuff. I love that record. That album's awesome, man. I love all that shit. When all that Deaf American stuff, I was all big on that stuff, man. I was listening to all that shit. You know, I remember getting to like the Ghetto Boys because of Deaf. We listened to that. It was like the Ghetto Boys and the Dice album. You know, because it was like we were all in like 9th grade.
Yeah, Ghetto Boys are sick, of course.
And you know, it was like what was ruder? You know, what was like, you know, more extreme to listen to, Dice or the Ghetto Boys? And oh, it was so funny. Like, you can't even do that shit anymore. Kids, I mean, what would happen if a kid was caught listening to Dice?
I mean...
Or the Ghetto Boys, even.
Depends what color your skin is these days.
I guess so, right? And that's another big thing that fucking Woodstock shows. It shows how that they had a whole SWAT team there. These kids were going full Lord of the Flies, but they were being all polite with them, nicey nice, like they were at the Capitol.
If it was white kids.
Yeah, if it was black or Spanish kids, there would be bodies fucking piled up. It's sick.
Exactly.
It's sick. But the more people call that shit out, and I'm very unafraid to call that stuff out. You know, I've alienated probably about half my people I knew from my high school, from my old town, because they're just so backwards. But I don't give a shit. I don't need that in my life. But I want them to hear it. But sometimes you feel like you're screaming into the void, though. They're so obstinate.
Yeah, you just do what you can.
Yeah, definitely. Dude, it was good talking to you. I don't want to keep you too long, man. It was awesome talking to you, Joe, man.
Likewise.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely, man. I'm excited. Yeah. So wait, the album... I thought the album had come out already, Quarentina, but it's...
The album's out, but the vinyl's on its way, and then I think we're doing like a Blu-ray of all the shit, like a book with
good.
The record and the movie, you know? So that's kind of like, it's going to have like 9 lives, this project, you know? It wasn't even supposed to be a project, but now it's like...
That's awesome. And you're good people, too. Katie and Chris Esty, they're fucking awesome publicists. They're good people. You know, I've had so many... I just... Dude, publicists annoy the shit out of me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I can imagine. And it's just, you know... It's like 51st states with some of these people. Some of them I'm not writing for the right places. If you're not writing for Pitchfork or Consequential Sound or something, they don't want to fucking know you. And I don't want to know them. So some of the shit is like, I don't give a fuck about secretly Canadian artists. I don't listen to any of that shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much going on there anyways.
No, I'd rather listen to, I'd rather interview Doug Clifford from CCR or like talk to you or, I'm trying to interview Armand Hammer actually for the site. Yeah, they're cool, man. They have that guy Billy Woods and Useless, they're so next level. The stuff they're doing, man.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's awesome. And JPEG Mafia too, I like a lot. Did you ever get into them?
Which one?
JPEG Mafia.
Oh yeah, Peggy.
They're great, man. I love it. I love on the EP they call out what's his face? That guy Eric Sunderman from the Fader.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, they call him out. It's great. That kid's such a dick. Oh,
JPEG's sick, dude. That record, Veteran.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I love that you guys used to like kind of take the piss out of like the Vice era, all that shit. Because I was so annoyed by all that stuff. And I loved how you guys always took the piss out of that shit, whether with Buddyhead or with the band. I was rooting for you guys. I was always in your corner.
We were baby rebels.
Because that's what you're supposed to do when you're kids, man. You know? And that's why I love just watch the young kids now, because these kids are like, they're out for blood, man, these kids.
Good.
All right, Joe. Dude, have a good night, man. I'll talk to you soon, bud. Thanks again for the time.
Take it easy, man.
All right, dude. Yes, to you too, buddy. Take care, man.
Later.
All right, be good.